Hey all, in this video I wanted to give you an overview of what we can do in OBS to set up a stream. So I figured the best way to do that would be to go over the New Game Plus stream overlay we have set up for a bunch of our games, and have a look at how we can, how it works and how we can rebuild it from scratch to really dive into how OBS works and how you can use it for your streams. So let's have a look at what we got. So we've got a setup here with really two different screens. We've got our pre-stream here. So we have a loading screen that we can put before the stream starts, and we have some text that we can obviously change to say whatever we want. All right, really little holding thing. Then we have our game screen, and our game screen has the actual game itself. I've got my Switch set up here at the moment. It's got the webcam in the corner. We've got some text down the bottom and a little bit of overlays in it. Some of it is sponsor or supported stuff as well. You'll also notice that when I switch scenes here, we get a cool overlay, a cool custom transition as well. So we're going to have a look at how to set up all that. And as I alluded to before, the easiest way is going to be to actually just rebuild it from the start. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start for a blank canvas, build up a stream overlay piece by piece. So got a completely blank setup here with nothing in it whatsoever, and from here we can start building in the pieces for our stream. Now, if you haven't used OBS before, I've moved my layout around a little bit with all the stuff on the side when it's normally down the bottom, but it's generally pretty straightforward. The way I like to explain it best is actually comparing it to PowerPoint. What you really need to understand is the idea of scenes and sources. So think of scenes as your PowerPoint slides. You have a title slide, you have an introduction slide, you'll have a content slide, and so on and so forth. And then your sources is your content on the slide. So in the PowerPoint metaphor, that's your text box, that's your clip art, that's your videos, that's your images you're importing. Right? So you have specific scenes, specific layouts, specific setups, and then you have various content on those scenes and setups. So for this one, we're going to set up two. We're going to set up a let's do it now. So we have our first one is going to be our holding screen. Right, and our second one is going to be our game screen. That's going to be the main one. Most of the stream is going to be on that game screen. And we'll start working there. The very first thing I'd like to do is actually just put a placeholder in there, just in case our game catcher fails or something else fails. We've got a background that's not blank. So I'm going to dig up some of my New Game Plus graphics, and I'm just going to grab, I think we have a purple shades. There we go. I like that one. I'm just going to drag it straight in. All right. And let's just scale that to fit. There it is there, and I'm just going to hit the little lock icon as well, so I can't accidentally move it around. So now I've got a nice little background. I'm also going to name. I really love naming and organizing stuff, so let's just call this background purple shades. All right. Easy peasy. Let's get in our game capture next. That's next most important. So in my sources, I'm going to click the Add button, and I'm going to choose Video Capture Device. It's going to ask me to essentially define a source. So I'm going to go ahead and name it here. I'm going to be using my Elgato capture today, so it'll be Elgato HD 60, I think. 60. Hit OK. You can call this anything. It's literally just a label at this point. Hit OK. I get this. Now this is already pre-configured from when I was testing it before, but from the properties of this, I can choose my device, and I've got a bunch of different stuff in here at the moment, including my webcam or the game capture device. I'm just going to make sure I set the game capture device, and most everything else will line up automatically. If it doesn't, sometimes you do need to manually set the resolution, but I've found that 9 times out of 10, you can get by just choosing your game capture device, and away you go. So you're going to hit OK. That's in there. And you'll also notice here that under my audio mixer, I can see the levels for the game coming in as well, and I can adjust those and make them quieter or louder as necessary as well. So again, I don't want to be able to accidentally move this around when I'm editing stuff, so I'll just snap it back into there, and I'm going to hit the lock icon. So next I need some overlays, so I'm going to go plus, I'm going to add image, and I should point out, I've created a whole bunch of overlays here in Photoshop, where we've just got some text layers and some other bits and pieces. And what I've done is I've taken all of these and I've saved them out individually. So if I go back into my, where all this is saved, you can see I've got the bar down the bottom. I've got a little cut up for my window. I even saved a bunch of social media slides essentially for another scene. We'll get to that in a minute. But most importantly, you can see I've got all the different pieces cut out individually. I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty of how to build this stuff in Photoshop, although a lot of it is just using gradients and strokes. Makes a huge difference. I recommend it highly. Create this, give it a name. So it's going to be overlay lower bar. Hit OK. And I'm going to browse to that file location. Let's go new game plus stream overlays. There it is there. And excellent. Now, because I've got the, I'm just going to wake my switch up so we get a bit brighter. There we go. Because I've made the image at the same size as my stream, it fits in nicely, but sometimes you do need to do a bit of maneuvering to get it into place. Right. And it's also worth mentioning that the order in which these things are stacked makes a difference as well. So if I move this below the game capture, then, well, it's below the game capture. I have to move, oops, I have to actually move the game out of the way to see it. So always keep an eye on the order of things here as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and lock that and lock that. Now you notice I've also got some text here as well, some generic placeholder text there. So let's add that in here as well. I'm going to create, lock this, I'm going to create a new layer, text. Let's go text, lower text, hit OK. And let's put in some text in the text box here. So let's go Prospect plays bravely default 2. And I'm going to choose a font. I like to use Roboto. When in doubt, Roboto. Roboto is great. Nice and clean. I might actually change some of the settings here. Most of them I'm going to keep the same, but I do want to make this all caps, I think. Yeah, let's try that. So you can see my text is here. I'm just going to scale it down. Scale it down a lot. You know what? I might change this. So I'm not liking this font as much as I was before. So let's go back into the properties here. And let's change this to Roboto Condensed. That's a bit nicer. Let's go Roboto Condensed. Hit OK. I'm also going to change the alignment. Oh, alignment's on the left. That's excellent. And there we go. That's a little bit nicer. So I can go ahead and change this font, change this text at any point. So I can say for example. Right nice is to change at any point. Something that's also really worth keeping an eye on is if you right click on your layer and go to edit transform, you get these really precise layout tools. So I'm just going to lock this to get rid of the red border there. And if I go in position, I can nudge that over pixel by pixel, get it exactly where I want it. I can also click in this field and use the scroll wheel to slide it up and down as well, which can be really handy. I can see I'm being a little bit OCD, but I think I want to move it down like 1 pixel. And then we get that stuck in there. All right, and that's honestly I could make do with that. And a lot of my streams, especially when we had other people on the call, we leave it at that. But when it's a solo stream, it's also very good to have your webcam in there as well. So let's add the webcam. Once again, I'm going to go sources plus video capture device, and I call this one webcam. Create new. Okay. I'm going to change it to my webcam. So C922 Pro Stream webcam. There it is there. And you can see it's on this weird thing where it's set up 4:3, which is not what I want. So and offsets this quite consistently. So here I'm going to make sure I go down to resolution, and I'm going to change it to a 16:9 resolution. Oops. Custom. I'm just going to go, it doesn't need to be massive. So just to make things a bit easier, I'm going to go 1280 by 720, which is about 1/4 of HD. And that's that one there. Excellent. All right, let's just plonk it in the middle for now. Now, you would have seen, oops, in my Photoshop here, that I did have a frame set up, and this is movable as well. I found that different games wanted the webcam in different spots, so it was nice being able to have a webcam box that can sit at the bottom or can be moved up into a corner or the other corner or the other corner without any stress. So we'll set up that as well. So what I'm going to do next is I'm just going to go add image again, and this time I'm going to go BG for background, webcam, browse, and I've got this box for my webcam. So let's hit OK and hit OK. And let's line these up. So my webcam's underneath, so let's just move those like so. And we go like this, and let's just line this up as best we can. Alright, that's looking pretty good. Not always that easy. Now, here's the problem though. If I want to move the webcam, obviously the background gets left behind. So there's a really simple solution here. All I want to do is create a group. So I'm going to go new group, and we're just going to call it group webcam. Hit OK. And I'm going to put the webcam inside that group. And I'm going to put the webcam background inside that group. Oops, I changed the order. There we go. And now I'm going to lock both the webcam and the webcam background and just grab the webcam group, and I can move this around as one solid thing as needs be, wherever I want. Let's just wake this up again. There we go. Excellent. Also, I'm looking the wrong way. If I want to be down this corner, I don't want to be looking off into the distance. I want to be looking the other way. So let's, no, that wasn't the other way. This other way. There we go. So I'm just going to fudge it. I'm going to right-click on my webcam group. I'm going to go transform. Oops, missed. Right-click, transform, flip horizontal. Haha. Easy peasy. Very nice. All right, now I can put this wherever I want. At this point, I'm going to do a little bit more organization. Also worth mentioning, look what's happened here. When I added the webcam, it's added a source for the webcam, an audio source for the webcam. And we don't want that because the mic that's in this webcam is not very good. It's not as good as the one I'm using for recording this video. It's not as good as the one I'm going to use for streaming. So we're just going to go ahead and make sure that is never going to pick up any signal whatsoever. We'll add that back in a minute. Oops. While we're here, let's do a bit of organization. We're getting a lot of stuff. So just to make it a little bit easier for us, we're going to apply some colors. I'm just going to grab all the webcam stuff and go set color, purple. All right, that's my webcam stuff. And I grab all my sort of overlay stuff, give that another color. Actually, I might give that the same purple. Pretty much stuff I don't ever need to touch goes purple. Game input, we'll give that another color. And stuff that I can edit, like lower text, I'm going to give a third color. So let's go blue. Just a little bit of color coding, just keep things a little bit simpler. Because when this starts to get complicated, it's nice to have a little... So we can see our audio currently is picking up game audio, oops, and the webcam, but not the mic. I want this headset mic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add another source. I'm going to add an audio input capture, and I'm going to call this headset mic. I'm going to find that headset mic. There it is there, headset microphone. It'll vary depending on what type of gaming headset you have, but mine's an Astro Mix amp. So let's go that. Hit OK. And now let's just work on this lowered resolution. There's my headset mic. You can see it picking up levels as I'm talking. And I can adjust these levels to balance the game and the game audio and my commentary audio however I want it to be. All right, so there we go. We've got game capture, we've got face capture, i.e. webcam. We've got audio. Let's go ahead and lock this. We've got audio from both sources. Essentially, this is the basics. This is all you need. What we're going to do more now is add some bells and whistles. It's nice to have a be right back message in case you need to leave for whatever reason, answer the door, or go to the loo, or whatever you need to do during your stream. You can just add a text. Let's call it text BRB. I go big old letters B right back, and just smack it in the middle of the screen and turn that on and off as you need. But I know some of us like to be a little bit more creative. Here's something really cool we can do. So here's something I've prepared earlier. That's the transition. Let's go Just a little animation I made. Obviously, it doesn't have to be as fancy as this, but I was able to take some of the effects and stuff I used in the opening sequence for the show and just create a loop out of them. And it's also worth noting it's got this semi-transparent background as well, so it's going to overlay my screen as well. If you have an animation, if you've got any skill in After Effects or you follow an online tutorial and you want to add stuff to your OBS overlays, there's one thing you need to really be aware of, and that is the transparency. You can see I've got the transparent grid there, so I can actually see stuff through it. If I was to render this out as normal MPEG for H.264 or a QuickTime movie or anything like that, it's not going to have that transparency. It's just going to be straight black, and not going to be able to see through it. So that's why we need to use a format called WebM, which is quite popular amongst streaming stuff. So WebM is actually pretty straightforward to add to the Adobe sort of ecosystem. If you Google it, there's sort of two places you can find it. One is the Adobe Exchange, where it's sort of integrated with Adobe. The other one is the developer's website. I'm going to say right here, right now, avoid the actual Adobe one. For whatever reason, I'm not sure if they just haven't updated it or they got the wrong version or something's dodgy. It doesn't quite work as well, and it doesn't get that transparency. So go to the developer's website to grab the WebM plugin. It looks even older than the other one, but I guess, trust me, it works. Download it, install it, and then we can start rendering stuff out in WebM with transparency. So I'm going to go ahead and add to the Adobe Media Encoder queue. There it is there. So I've already set this to WebM. You can, as for the actual settings themselves, you can set them to whatever you want. The really thing you need to make sure that you're getting is include alpha channel. If you include that alpha channel, you will get the transparency, and that's what we want. That's why we're using WebM. That's the whole point, and away we go. So I'm not going to render that out because I already have. I've got a folder full of them here. And let's just go have a look. If I load it up in VLC, it's not really doing anything. You can see the black. But if I go ahead and dump this in my scene here, you can see it actually has that transparency. You can see I toggle it on and off. We get that sort of black overlay that's coming on as well. Right, so I'm going to go ahead and just rename this. We're going to call it Be Right Back. Right, and that's it. So once we're streaming, what we need to do is turn it on. Oops. And go and do what we need to do. Come back, turn it off, and we're back to gaming. So that's essentially it for our game screen. Let's have a look at our holding screen. So we created that earlier, jumped over to holding. We can put pretty much anything you want here. You can put, if you've got like, I don't know, a themed GIF to your channel, you can chuck it in, background. You can just jump into Photoshop, put together whatever you want and have the... me being me, of course, I've done something a little bit more fancy and again, stolen some graphics from our intro sequence to the show and just sort of got this scene going on here. And again, this isn't a video where I'm going to go into how to create this kind of thing, but the most complicated thing here is essentially the scan lines, just real quick, where I've just created a couple of layers using the Venetian blinds filter to create some lines and just straight up, I think it's just on, just use the position, vertical position to just sort of create two different scan lines at two different speeds going up and down the screen. Right, and then the rest is all just a bunch of different kinds of layers and colors and filters and various hue controls and bits and pieces like that. So this as well, I'm also going to render out as a WebM. Now, it doesn't have any transparency. It doesn't specifically need to be WebM, but WebM is actually a really sort of efficient format, really handy, and it probably should be your default when you're creating videos for stream. All right, so let's add that in. I'll go plus, add media source this time because it's a video. We call it holding scan lines. I will browse for the file. There it is there, loading loop.webm. And I'll just make sure it's looping. And the rest I can pretty much leave as is and hit OK. And then there we go, we got our background loading loop and you can see it playing through there. We'll just make sure it loops. It gets to the end and loops. Excellent. So I'm going to lock that and let's add a little bit more to this scene. I want to add some dynamic text that I can actually change per stream. So let's go text, and I'm going to call this text holding. And let's just go add some text, stream, start soon. And we're going to change the font. Let's use the one we use for the show. Let's make it all caps. And I'm going to make it alignment center. Now, a trick with alignment center, you may have noticed if you've used DOS before, it doesn't really sort of do what you want it to do all the time. So I'm just going to scale this down, put it in here. So a little foolproof trick to this is if we go into our transform, edit transform, let's just make sure our positional alignment is also set to center. That's just going to make sure that whenever we change that text, it's always going to work from the center out. Let's go like that and chuck that there. It's a bit full on, so let's try and match the font color a little bit. So we'll go here and we'll select one of these sort of light purpley colors. It's a little bit better. All right, let's lock that. If we ever need to change it, we can just click it and choose this bottom here. Easy. The only other thing I'm going to add is I'm going to add some social media stuff here. So, oops, I think I closed it. As I showed before, I've created a couple of social media slides. They just have our various social details, and I'm going to add them in as a slideshow. So let's close this. Let's go plus image slideshow slides social media. Oops. Spelling is hard. Let's import some image files, add files. Here they are, add all 4 of them. You can see a little preview there. Let's just turn up the time between slices so we can see it working. So it's 8,000 milliseconds, so 8 seconds. I'm just going to chuck that to 1 just so I can see it working. And I can actually see it up here as well. So 1, 1, 1, 1. Excellent, working fine. Let's change this to about 4 seconds each. Hit OK, and just pop this down the bottom. Lock that, and we got our loading screen. So that's our holding screen. That's our game screen. Ready to go. The only thing left to do is create a transition. You can see by default, the scene transitions are set to fade. So it's just going to go fade straight through. If you don't like that, you can go straight just to cut. Have it cutting straight to. There's a whole bunch of weird stuff we can do. Let's go slide. Whee. Let's go. Actually, that's kind of cool. I don't hate the slide up, honestly, but I do like being extra fancy. So again, for various things throughout the show, have created this transition. Goes like this. Oops, let's just make sure that's all being shown. Whoop. Right, so I might as well use that. Now you can see I've got transparency. So again, this is going to need to be exported as a WebM, and it has been. So let's, where's my WebM folder? There it is. Transition.webm. Now, it's worth noting that VLC has a horrible time trying to play this back. Between the transparency and the odd file type, it doesn't know what's going on. But don't be dismayed. OBS is much better at reading WebM files. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go change the scene transition to Stinger. Let's call it NGP Stinger. I'm going to it's going to ask for a video file, so let's browse that video file. WebM, scene transition. We'll do preview transition. All right, so you can see the issue. It's changing from A to B before it even turns up. So I'm just going to adjust this transition point. All right, it's easy to work in frames, I find. And I believe it's roughly about 25 or 30 frames. So let's just go 28 frames in before the screen is completely covered. Nope, too soon. Let's go 20. There we go. All right, and hit OK. And there it is. NGP Stinger. Go from holding to game. And we're there. We did it. Hooray. And that's everything. So, let's review real quick. We've created 2 different scenes. We've added a bunch of content to each of our scenes, including, actually let's go from bottom up, including our audio source, our generic background image, our game capture, our overlays, some custom text, our webcam, a little frame for our webcam. We've put that in a group so we can move it all around. We've added a Barrett back overlay as well. Lock that. We've added our holding screen with the WebM in the background, some custom text, and a slideshow with some social media information. And we've, of course, added a custom stinger transition as well. And that's it. So there's your basics, plus some bells and whistles. Hope that helps you. Make sure to check us out on social if you like this video. Stay tuned to the channel for more videos, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.